Good morning, everyone. How are you? Welcome back. We're working again on my textile tales inspired by these two books, Flower Flash and French Blooms. I was just thinking this morning that I'd also bought in some of those quilt books, and I haven't really gone down the quilt block feel, but I know the one is Plaids. I just don't have them sitting beside me at the moment. One's stripes and plaids and things like that. That's definitely influenced subtly, but as for forming an actual quilt block and then going from there, I haven't really done that. It's probably more the visual of the textiles and the designs, and that's sort of the Liberty side of things as well. So I just was thinking about it last night that, yeah, haven't really made a quilt block. I've just been collaging and then creating a structure to put these flowers in. Anyway, just an observation. Now, the next one I want to do, well, I was actually thinking too, let me zoom back out. I was thinking too that due to the number of pages I've got, we'll call this this bicycle an image of the flowers, but with a structure, where this one's a vase. So my thought was that, now this is more the construction of the book, that I do a construction image one, vase, image one, vase. So then I started thinking about the images, and I printed off a couple things last night. This is the classic lamp post, and I typed in French lamp, and this is what I come up with, which I think is just gorgeous. Extend the post down. Here's the waste paper bin that features in Lewis Miller's books, where he puts huge flower displays in them. So I'm thinking that's a definite. And then the other images that I've got all through my phone are doorways. And when I went onto the internet and typed in sketches of doorways with pots, there was heaps and heaps and heaps. So I'm thinking that, say, a doorway, the lamp post, the bicycle, and then the bunch of flowers in a vase to the base. The other thing I haven't explored, which was on the wish list, is a vase of flowers sitting in water. Whether that is the front, so that's still floating around. So there you go, just had to get that out of the brain. So what I want to do today is another one of those structural ones, and I'm thinking the doorway. I've been looking at doors all morning. So this was the base I used yesterday for the bicycle when I filmed that one. I think a day would have gone by between videos here. So it worked out really well. And I think I have a third piece somewhere. So I'm just going to trim it down to size. Pudgy's been out sitting on the driveway. Now he's back. So let's just get this to size. And then we'll start looking for a piece of feature fabric that has floral. Then we'll sketch some form of doorway around it. Shouldn't be too hard, not like that bicycle. Talk about pressure. Okay. Oh, I think I'm going to sneeze. I might just pause and sneeze. Hang on a minute. Okay, I'm back. It's funny how it just comes on like that. I was flipping around through some fabric in a drawer, so no doubt it was fibres. All right. I think before I get carried away, there was a piece of fabric in this last little pile sitting here that I wanted to cut up. It had blue flowers. Is it that one? Looks like it. I think it was this one. So I promised myself that it must go into something, and I'm wondering, that's its big sister, if it could be worked into the image. It's very big scale. It's big. And I'm just picturing this doorway. You know, by the time I get the door, I suppose if it was Lewis, it'd be big. I think we can do it. What the hang? Does it have to be in proportion? I don't think so. So I did grab myself a ruler because I'm thinking if I can get my door at least semi-straightish. So I've got my friction pen here. I'd like to have a bit of a step up to it as well. The top of it could be, where's the middle of the piece of paper? Let's get a bit, it's not paper, it's fabric. The top of it could be there, and they have these bricks that come out from it. So I'm thinking we do like a fanned out brick surround. Oh, I've got so many pictures that it was all starting to mush into one image, and not one image was just, you know, perfect in my little creative brain. So in the end, I stopped scrolling and I'm like, just go and draw the thing. And then give us all of the little pretty things that we want. Just not sure where I'm heading here. I'm just trying to get the top right. And remember, we're going for a sketchy feel, so we can get away with a heap of creative license. I think my proportions are right. I didn't turn on the iron, so that's not waiting to hide errors by ironing them away. I don't think we need all of those lines. I don't want it to look too structured. Just a hint of them, I think, is enough. Now we'll do an inset of glass here, and it usually sits in a frame. The more frames, I think, the better you put to a door or a window, the better it seems to look. So we'll do a bit of a shadow line there on that frame, sort of chunkies it up a bit. And then the glass, we might just mirror this shape. We'll keep it simple. So we'll do another little arch. Another little arch. About midway, should do the trick. And then we need to make it look like stained glass. So maybe another arch here to break it down, and then start double lining things. You know how there's like that seam between them. This needs a double, the lead to hold the glass is what I'm trying to say. And like I said with the bricks, we don't need to put it all in. We just need to give the impression that it's there because it's light and sketchy. Okay, so we've got a nice big bold door. Then there's usually the top of the door, and then there'll be lines coming down. I might use my ruler here just to get us straight. Lines coming down. Okay. It's very big. See, once again, I've drawn it really big. Double door. We'll use the fold to get us a double door. That will still work. How are we going to do the doors? Do we do the doorknobs there, handles? A lot of them had like a panel and just this big ornate doorknob. Like they honestly seemed quite awkward to open. There was just this doorknob in the centre. And then if you looked closely, then you'd notice these latches and things. But they had these like lion heads here. Oh gosh, I got some photos of some lion head door doorknobs. Okay, that's all right. And then we get our bit of thickness down that side. Doesn't have to be too detailed, just a few lines. Okay, now I did want some steps. So we need a landing. How do we do that? So if we bring the door back up to here, that's that bit that first goes in. A step. It's a block by itself, and we need an angle coming to it. I don't know. We're getting a bit above our pay grade here. So that'd be straight, but that'd have to kick back. And then there's a step here, and this landing would be there. I've lost my way here. Door doesn't meet step. Maybe it does. We're just going to pretend it does. Okay, let's just say there's a step there, all right? All right, yep, close enough. So, the plant. I think I need to extend this up. It looks a little shy on height. I look like I've got a short, dumpy door. Let's just get a few extra mil up the top there. We can still have that internal panel. Yeah. So this now sneaks in as an added piece. And then we create some form of pot. Do we go this side? I'm thinking because this, see this here, it's very soft. I'm just going to tear it off for a moment and get it as small as we can. And we insert it there so it drifts across the doorway and the step. Do we bring a bit of this artwork onto it? So we sort of now pretend that it's part of the whole drawing of the door. Yeah, I like that. And then we can bring the frame. So where's a pin? We forget about it now. It's just part of the image. We bring the frame back down through those flowers. The step can come still through. Okay. Is it in the right spot? Yeah, I think so. Maybe we just use this as just a feature piece. Maybe we create a pot of flowers to the side. So this is just like it's part of the background fabric. So we now forget about that, but it softens and includes the door. Do we create, how are we going to do this? What about we put a pot here? I'll draw it in for now. I suppose we could draw it. I was thinking we get some fabric, but what if we keep sketching? We give us this pot that's tucked into the side here. How do you draw a pot? It usually has a bit of a lip at the top, doesn't it? Okay, so we've got ourselves a terracotta pot. We can create then a floral something here. We'll pick up the blues and the pinks and all of that. I could even use this piece as well by just adding it somewhere else. little flower. Maybe that's the start of something there. Yeah, and we build up to it. Okay, so that's just background. That's our pot with our flowers. Something else that I wanted to try and do is give the illusion of brickwork. Because if I had brickwork, so we also need a baseline. So let's get ourselves the footpath. That's the bottom of the step. That helps. We've got footpath here. Does that line up? Not really. We'll do the footpath there. Edge of the building here. Bear with me. So that's the side of the building. That's just disappears. And we have like that flagstone-y brick sort of feel. We might start at the door and just do a few little sketchy bricks. The other thing I wouldn't mind having on this is a house number. I know what we could use, those laundry labels. So we've got now this little hint of brickwork coming in the background, but keep it sketchy, keep it light. Just to connect the door to something. At the moment, it's just a door sitting in limbo. I'll get more detailed with it when we get the pen out. I think this could be a little bit bigger. I might bring this up into here a bit. Make the stained glass a little bit bigger. I seem to have lost my size there too. Because they were quite grand. The other ones, a lot of the photos I took too had wrought iron up in here, but we're not going to draw wrought iron. That was just above my pay grade. Yeah, I like that. I think that's okay. I think we need to thicken up this line in here because they have all this trim that goes around just to give it even more detail. There's the doorknob. We might put a ring on it. I can't draw a line. Its head, we're not going to go down that track. But we could do a ring. So I'll say, look, similar size. Yeah, I like that. I think we're there. We'll stop at that. We can find some floral for there. Now let's grab my sketchy pens. I think number 2 was Nellie had it. And we went back to, where's my little piece of paper that was in there that tells me how thick these are. I can never remember, do you go up for thickness or down? Number 4, that'll do. Okay, so these are just permanent pens. So all I'm going to do now is just, we're happy with that there? Yeah, it's growing out of the footpath. We could even be cheeky and put a pot in here. No, we won't. I want to keep that like it's just was printed on the fabric that I've picked up to sketch on. Let's get that step in. Get our angles a little bit more defined. That's the landing. Then the door. Then we got our pot. A lot of that gets covered anyway, but pot is nestled in there. Okay, so we've got our side of the building there. We might put the laundry label there, like the house number. Let's just bring, I really wanted to include some of these doors in my Italy book, but there were so many ideas of things I was seeing and wanted to capture that I just ran out of room. And I thought to myself, it's all good. We will eventually get back onto sketching, stitching, you know, doors. And so I just kept taking photos. I thought one day they'll be coming handy. Mind you, I seem to have more pictures of lion heads. You were there, so you need to stay. Little pin. Okay. Little bit of brickwork coming around the door, the top of the door. Brickwork. The good thing about sketching, guys, is you don't need to be really detailed with your lines and things. You can get away with a bit, actually, as long as you get the general feel of the shape or whatever it is you're trying to draw. And watercolour is even more forgiving. I remember doing this giraffe and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'll give it a go. I was on holidays and I'd just taken my watercolour book with me and my paints. This was a few years back now. And I said to Gaz, we're driving to this house that we'd hired with the family. I said, while I'm away, I'm going to do a giraffe. And I'm going to do him in lots of oranges and blacks, and I could just see him. And I was so pleased with him. He came out really well. And it was just simple lines, just, you know, I found myself some photos of giraffes and then some sketches of giraffes, and then just sort of went from there. And gosh, he was fun to do. There we go. So that's the stained glass in the middle. We've got the brickwork around the top. So let's get this door. Get that center line in because that was the fold of the fabric. That was a gift. We'll start building up the trim and the frame that would be around the door. Keeping it sketchy. I think there's some there. We get the one completely finished before I go to the other one. That'll make sure we don't forget anything. You could even do some hinges. They were beautiful. Big, massive hinges to hold these big, massive doors. Let's just... I was remembering a story I was telling the girls when we were sitting and stitching of this cruise I was on, and there was a resident artist on the cruise who was a watercolour city sketching artist. Won't say her name because it's irrelevant. And she did tours all over the world where you could just sit in a cafe in a beautiful spot and sketch what you see. So it was doors and lamps and things like that. Anyway, I was so excited when I saw it on the schedule. And so I'm down there, boots and all. We got gifted a little travel pack of Winsor and, is it Winsor and Newton? Paints, watercolours, a little book, and away we went. And she gave us imagery that was from, you know, magazines, and just going to soften those lines with a few little illusions of shapes, and just to soften that a little bit. Looks a bit blocky. And anyway, so I was great, and she was good. Like, I don't want to take anything from the artist, but she was good. So all sorts in the class, all ages. And there was one gentleman there. He was just adorable. He would have been 85 to 90, maybe older. Sharp as a tack. Was just an absolute card. And he ended up just being adorable through the rest of the cruise, because you'd bump into him everywhere. Once you sort of get to know people on those boats, you sort of start catching up with them at breakfast, and you're like, oh, you're from my painting class or whatever it was. And that'll do. Stop fiddling. I think I've got all the line. Oh no, I didn't do the knockers in the centre. Not too big. Yeah, but he wasn't the best at doing the class. And the lady, and he needed help. To be honest, I don't even think he'd ever picked up a paintbrush, but he was there, boots and all, to have a go. And the lady got so frustrated with him. She really struggled to bring him into this world of drawing. And she kept rolling her eyes and carrying on like a pork chop. And we could all see that he was struggling. We could see her assisting him, but not leading him, not even just breaking the task down to something simple for him to do. Gosh, it was hard to watch. It was really, really hard to watch. I'm just going to invisible stitch those down because I want to get rid of the pen, and I'm yapping, so I need something just basic to do while I yap. Yeah, so it really hurt the soul. And he came every day, and when she greeted us as we walked in, she just rolled her eyes as if to say, oh, him again. Oh, gosh, it was, I've never forgotten that. You just can't leave students behind. You've got to take a breath and say, okay, you've never picked up a paintbrush. What an adventure you're about to have. Anyway. I was telling the girls about it, and it was just hard to watch. Everyone realised, everyone was looking at each other. She did herself no favours. A lot of the class did fall away as the cruise went on. Maybe because it was a little bit advanced, but still, what does it matter? You're on a cruise boat. What's the chances you're going to be on a cruise as a teacher teaching something really specialised like watercolour sketching of cityscapes, and you're going to have a dozen, 5, whatever, in your class that are experienced enough just to go with it? More likely you're going to have a heap of people like, you know what, I've never done that, would love to learn, or at least try, and I've now got 2 weeks with not much else to do, so why not? That's more like it. Yes, anyway. Lesson learnt there. I don't think I've drawn the lines here on this fabric in that pen, looking at that. I might then, once I get these stitched down, our little background highlights, I might then jump up and turn the iron on and just give it a bit of an iron to make sure we've got our door sorted. Now, I would be very tempted to thread paint those, but I'm not going to. It's all about the beautiful fabrics and the collaging of these Lewis Miller bunches of flowers, wherever they may be. Some outside, some in a vase, and that's the French book. I think I've missed that line, and it's a little bit out of plumb there. And I think that needs to come there. I think I've jiggered that. I think that needs to actually be over there. I have jiggered it. That's all right. We're just going to put an extension there. Yapping, I'm not concentrating. So there's a line there that doesn't need to be. That's all right. Let's do a doormat. Just another sketchy little line there as if there's a bit of a doormat thing happening. Do another line through there. There we go. We've just disguised the fact that there's an extra line. You guys can see it. See that? I can't disguise that unless I made that bricks there. But if I emphasize that, yeah. It's a very single line. You just got to get a little bit of, let's get a little bit of interest on that pot too. Okay, enough fiddling. I think we disguised it. That there seems thick and lacking detail. Let's just get a bit of a sketch in there. We'll put our street number there, which will be our French label. I might grab, I'm going to rethread half an hour. So that's all good. We've got plenty of time still. I could bring in, I'm thinking I'm going to go down that turquoise blue line with these flowers. So I could bring in a little bit of, I just looked up and saw that. Look at the berries. I think that might be it. Oh, I could have done a vine with fruit hanging off of it too with those berries. Oh, the possibilities. I don't think I finished my sentence, did I? Gosh. Is that going to get worse the older I get? My videos are going to be a shocker in 59 years' time. I could do pops of the turquoise of fabric scraps up the top. Where's that silky piece I bought back from Italy? Actually, I can see a piece there that's part of the Rachel pile. Look at this one. That one. Oh, it's more of a green, isn't it? It's probably more that colour we want. But it's this one. I love this. How do we get a little piece of this off? And, you know, pop it just at the top. Just a little bit. But we will see what happens here, because knowing me, I'll pick up some random piece of fabric and away we go, and it won't even be the colours I thought that I might want to do. Okay, I just want to grab my French laundry labels, or Italian or German or whatever. These ones I found in Italy. These I've had for years, and I picked up that when I was in France. Just random, you know, little ones, and I found my initials. So I've been using them for ages, and then we found a massive stash of laundry labels over in Italy, which gave me more numbers, because I'd had lots of, you know, shapes. 104. So some of these are Italian, and then Rach was telling us they could even be German. Like, everyone would put numbers and initials on their linen, so when they went to the laundry to be cleaned, that one's really stained. It's probably more in keeping. We could put it over the door. I sort of feel like it needs to be there, but it's so small. But that looks too big. There's another size. Yeah, so that the laundry house, I think it needs to actually be this one, so the laundry house would know whose linens they had. That's why they were all monogrammed. That's why you get these white pieces of linen with a red initial on it. It's not going to work. Okay. So it's possible we do a little frame around it. I think we might, because it just looks like a bit of a little blob. I might thin it down a little, so I'll take a little bit more off so it's more rectangular. Maybe that's better. Yeah, that's better. So we'll just stitch you on. Just with 4 or so little stitches, doesn't have to go through the wash. I'm sure they put heaps of little stitches around them to hold them. Then we might get the sketchy pen and put a bit of a plate around it. You know, it would have been sitting on a bit of a metal or timber plate. Might use my heat pen first because those lines that I add now might look a bit big and chunky, so I need to know that I can iron them out. And the good thing about sketching it first with a heat pen and then going over the top with this pen is what you see now is as chunky as it's going to get. If you like it, you can leave it. If you don't like it and you want to fine it up a little bit, make it appear finer, use my words correctly, the heat will push this pen away and everything becomes a little bit more dainty. So I just want to create a bit of a thing around it. Or the illusion of something around it. That's okay. So I'm going to keep the line real close to the little number. You won't see that line much because you're looking up at it, and then you see a bit on that side and a little bit on that side. So it's just a hint that there's a plaque behind. Okay, enough mucking around. I'll pause the video, head to the iron, tidy up all these little scrappy little bits of threads everywhere. Then we'll go looking for fabrics to create our Lewis Miller bunch of flowers. All right, back in a moment. Okay, so down here on the bottom corner, we're missing a heap of door. So we just need to get that back in. So the iron just took it all away. So we need to just finish this off and catch that detail. Okay, there we go. The step's a little bit, how's your father there? But I'm okay with it. All right, stop fiddling, put the pen down. All right, now I guess the other thing I haven't taken into account is some lace. Now these I think are too big, so I might have to go looking for something a little bit smaller and see if I can build that in. Maybe that comes in the top here. So flowers. let's have a little look. Let's get ourselves organised here. I'm going to grab the whole pot of them, move the French bits out of the way. That's a possibility. We've used those 2 fluoro, not right. We've used those. They sort of fit, don't they? And we've used that. Don't mind those yellow ones. They sort of pick up the yellow there at a pinch. Blue. Possible. We go down the blue line. I don't mind some of that, but no. Some of these are so bright. Don't mind you. But they're too big, aren't they? And they're a bit abstract. But that's okay, like it doesn't matter. They're nice and watercolory. No. What about you? Look at the thistles. Oh, look at that. Wouldn't that be good at the bottom of a lamppost? But they're so big. We need a real small scale, don't we? Modern. They would make great fill. Like they're not distinguished flowers. Is that what I mean to say? Distinguished. You know what I mean? Designated? No. If we want to touch a pink, but I think we've got enough. Oh, here, these guys. Those guys. White. Little pinks. Bright blues. Anything else in the bucket? We're going to the bottom of the bucket today, guys. See that? I grabbed that because of Lewis's photo. White flowers. Don't think they'd show up. Don't think we need that. Bit more blue. Very blue. I know if I tea-dyed some of these, it would push them back, but then I like the, oh, I don't mind that. I like the novelty of that, we're seeing these nearly cartoony, sketchy, oh, look at that. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm going to put that at the top of the pile. That felt like it inspired me. I like that flower. I think I'm going to go down the blues, blue and whites. We've sort of done the pinks a fair bit. Let's put those away. Blues, blues, not right blue. Could do with white. Don't think we'll do that. We've done it. Don't think we need those. This orange is interesting too. And this. How do we blend that with that? Oh, that's a challenge. All right. You know, looking at this design here, let me zoom in for a moment, see if you can see what I'm seeing. See how that's very tulipy and buds, especially that there. It looks like that. I think that's not right. We'll keep this guy out and we'll keep that guy out. They're too big. This is too much of a mush. That is its own piece, I think. There's a bloomin' big blowfly in here now. Fudgy in his glory has been out on the driveway relaxing. See, that's got potential. And now he's let a fly in because the roller door's up about 6 inches off the ground, so he can slide under, slide out. Just enough to let all the snakes in. I tell you, Fudgy, the things you do. I'm wondering if I can get one of those flowers without destroying the whole piece of fabric. There's one there. We're going blue. I'm going to fussy cut you out. You're right on the edge, so I'm not just whipping into the center of that piece of fabric and pinching a flower out. Be great if I got another one, but we might be able to disguise the fact that we only have one. Where's another one? On an edge. There's not. Okay, I'm not going to go in there and get him and him. That just ruins that piece of fabric. So let's just pop that away. We've got one. It'll help bolster up the bunch. Okay, so now we need another piece. Let's get my pins. I'll pin them this time because I didn't last time. And I had little flowers flopping all over the place. This is of interest. And I like those neutral ones. They sort of feel like they're picking up the tone of that fabric. I'll take this little side guy. And we'll slide him in there as if he's just peeking through the back. We might grab this little guy. He needs to be cut in more. He's got a little bit too much white for my liking. I really like this big flower, but he's so big. But I'm going to take him. I might take his little mate as well. Then we need to put this fabric down and go look at the one with the berries, because I think we're getting a little bit too same. It's all right if you're doing a mass of carnations and everything in the vase is a carnation. I'm going to put him up there for a moment. Put this away, that away. We need some sprays. Oh, look at that one. Let's take that. Something to soften it. I'm going to take all of that. It's probably too much, but and once again, if you're wondering, isn't that just going to be fraying to bits? The beauty of this Liberty is it's Tana lawn, so it's fine and delicate, which gives you that nice floral feel that you're chasing. You can have it that it's not 100% secured to the background fabric, like you would normally go around and overstitch every raw edge so that it doesn't disintegrate. And it doesn't fray easily because it's very dense yet fine. So you get the drape. If you're making clothes out of it, you get the drape, but it's a very strong fabric, I find. So that's why I thought it was perfect for this. It's probably why they were like making quilts out of it, because it's strong. Just trying to trim that up a little bit. And I'm just using invisible stitches wherever I can to secure these little pieces down. And I really would like to get in there. I think this little thin piece, delicate little piece, is going to help mimic what's happening on the other side. Our little inspirational piece of floral fabric that is somewhere on our page seems to be what I'm doing. Now I could separate those two, most likely will, but I don't mind it up that side. I would say I'm going to go back to that same piece of fabric and build in all of these little itty bitty bits, because I'm really liking those little mustard berries there. Let's put that up the side. I think that works. It needs a little bit more fussy cutting, but it certainly softens it. And I think I get a similar thing happening up the door. I'm just going to anchor these few pieces that I have already. So I've got green on that piece. I didn't cut that real well, did I? Gosh, I wish I had another one of those, but we're not going to destroy that fabric. I can see that bottle green. We need that gone. We need to put it in a spot where it's nice and bold. Okay. Now, berries. I think we need to have a play with some berries, guys, and there's some right here. They do not make sense in a pot plant. For those of you out there going, there would not be berries coming out of that pot plant. There is in my fantasy world. I love pots that have multiple plants in them. They don't always survive because of overplanted. But boy, when you can pull it off and you've got an interesting pot that's just laden with interesting plants and flowers, and you can keep the fertilizer up to it to, you know, there's a lot happening, lots of root systems, everyone's fighting for survival. I'm going to slide those berries in. Does that look silly? They're big berries, aren't they? They're going in. I like it. Get rid of that pin. She's an old pin and she's pops up and she's like an old, tough, not rusty, but it's lost its coating. I bring you up into there to soften the berries. There we go. We're getting there. Yeah. I love how the background fabric just helps me build the image of it. Gosh, I don't think I'd want too much more. What are we going to put in? Do we play with an orange? What was over here in our clusters of rejects from previous? Don't think there's really anything. Look at this guy. Can we use you? No. No. Fudgy. I'm thinking we go for the what? I feel like we do need orange in there, an orangey red. I just want to pinch out one of these and just test it. Even that yellow. You're too big. Here comes the fudge. You're a nice little cluster sitting on the side here. It could be. This is such a pretty fabric, this one. Now, if that was tea dyed, that white would disappear a little bit too. So, yeah, I'm not too concerned because I like that contrast as well. I like the fact that you can look into it and go, oh, you know, she's used different fabrics to try and create something here. But if you did want it to blend a little more, I don't mind that, you know. Just that little bit of brightness, and I think it picks up over here. So what would we then put there? I'm thinking a blue flower, and I just spotted that. Maybe we just do this guy. He's only little, and just build up. Let's try you, pop you on a pin. Yep. Now I might, let's try one of these really, what I'd say, ethereal looking flowers. There's this guy here, and I'll go all the way over here and catch you. There's another bit of yellow berry, and I'll come down here and catch you guys. There's another blue. All right, so let's put everything right. I think I can just harvest all of those little bits, and I think we'll be there. Let's just tidy up a little bit. Feeling a little closed in by fabric here. And I guess it gets rid of some options, you know. You see all these pretty things around you. That's still a possibility because it'll give us soft elements, but I don't think we need it. I think we can do plenty here. So let's take this little blue one out first, because I do want some sprays coming over the door, coming back this way. Maybe up into there a little bit. Yep. Then we might go for this spray. We'll work back. The little round flowers, they can always go at the end when you've got little gaps. I'm going to take off those little feelers because they're so fine. All I'll see is a blob of white if I use them. They're probably not as pretty now because I've taken off that little detail, but I'm thinking out here, just to soften up this edge. Yep. The fact that they come off this edge too of the background, I like that too, because then that's onto the book. See, that's another design element that I'm thinking is a little bit cool, is having the flowers come off of this onto the side. But if I recall, I don't have a lot of page on the other side, so I think it might be not possible because I've taken this to the furthest extent to get our door in. I guess these layouts with the structure, the bike and the door. They can be bold and big because it's something different. It's all about, you know, the structure. When I do a vase of flowers, I can go big on the vase of flowers because that's the feature. So where are we going to put you? You seem to want to stand upright. There's a lot happening over there. I might bring you in there to soften the berries because your stem doesn't really make sense. It's a stem from something else, I think. That did close it in a bit, so I've lost my shape of my pot. I'm going to put it there. Now it looks too lumpy. I'm going to separate that. See how the stem doesn't line up with the flower real well? So we're going to use the flower and we're going to use the leaves. So let's put a pin in those itty bitty leaves and maybe have it peeking out here. So that makes that flower look correct. No, we want it there, I think. Yep. And then this single flower, let's put you there to build that cluster in. We'll leave the pot as it is because I want to see the side of the pot unless I can get some little leaves or something really fine. Let's have a look at these little berries. We've got them already in, these little gold. Okay. It'd be good to get these pieces into the pages because then I can get back into the slow stitch element where we put, you know, the mark making and the camphor stitch and maybe some more little scrappy bits of lace. And oh, we don't have lace on this yet. So let's just stab it with a pin so we can place it. And I'm thinking you are over here. We want to see the pot, but we also want some interference onto the step. Yeah. I still feel like we need something in the middle there, but when I look at the camera, it's okay. I like how it's a bit messy in that center, like there's a bit of air. We're going from this point here up to this point, so that's that nice angle. We've got softness around with the pop of the orange just to catch that orange, that over here. You know what? I'm going to stop, or will I? Berries. I'm going to cut these berries out, guys. Where can we have them? I'm not going to stop. She just told a white lie. I look at the image and go, yeah, stop. You don't need anything else. And then I look at the little scrap of fabric going, but you haven't cut everything out yet. You could take more. Okay, so my next step will be to get my art glitter glue and just put the tiniest of dobs in behind all these little floral elements just to hold them so that I can get rid of all those pins. And then I go in with the finest of needles and a tiny little stitch wherever I can get it to reinforce everything. So they either poke out the top, yeah, that's where they're going. My other choice was to drape it down here, but I think I'd lose too much of the pot shape. So I'm going to poke them out the top. So they're more of a cone-shaped, weird Brussels bushy thing, not so much a berry. But if you look closely, they are berries. Now I feel like I could do with something poking in here because I can see brickwork there. So I might just pinch this little pink flower. And then I think we're done. So I'll need to secure everything and then I'll be back to show you it finished-ish. I do want to visit lace. So we're not done. I'm going to poke you in there just to help fill in that corner. All right, that's it. Tools down, hands away. I'm going to grab my basket of lace because I feel like I need something up here to soften it. So let's have a little look. We've been using those little squares. Hang on one moment. I'm just going to grab another little cluster of those little squares. Okay, I think they're too big. Let me just make some room here. So I picked up circles inadvertently, but that's okay. Oh, I like that. Oh, you can't see. Hang on, guys. Let you come up here and join the party. I like that. Do we audition anymore? Oh, you're nice. You're a real grimy, dirty thing. No, you're too bold. That one was more subtle, whichever one it was. These are some odd shapes, but I don't think there was a single guy. No, you're the wrong colour. Let's get in amongst these. Was that the one? That one. I like the, yeah, that one. Yeah. Was it that one? I don't know. It might have been that one. That seems too big. That just seems a little bit more pushed back. Oh, look at that one. It's got the mess of something being unpicked. Oh, look at you. You're a bit special. Oh, I don't know. No, save him. He looks like he's got a story to tell because he's still got the fabric around him. I think that's it. Right, that's it. I don't know which one I looked at when I first picked up. I've lost track. I think it was him because then I saw this grimy one. Well, it's not grimy. He's just stained with his experiences of life. Did you like that? That was very poetic. All right. Let's just wrangle these for a moment. That's a thread counter. For those of you who don't do knitting or crocheting, when you need to know to do something special in a pattern, you use these little guys. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, you know, metal ones and pretty ones and beaded ones and goodness knows what. It tells you to do something. It sort of helps you count your pattern. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to go off and stitch all this and then yeah, we're done and we can slide it into our book. How exciting. All right, guys, back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. I just was sitting here doing the gluing stage, and I thought I'd show you how I sort of do it because I had a couple questions in a previous video. So I pick a point where I'm working back towards myself, because I find if I go the other way, I sort of get myself all knotted up with my hands and that. So I tend to lift the pin out, make sure it's still in position, and then either using the pin or not, depending on if you've got a fingernail or not, just gently put the tiniest little dab of glue in there to hold it. If you feel like it could get damaged, like that berry, I'm just going to put a little dab there. That one I'm not worried about, but the other one I did. Now that I can get my fingers in there under those orange ones, I'm just going to catch them while I can. The pin is still in there, but I can get in there due to having that one pin gone from the berries. So I can't really get in under that blue, so I'm going to take the pin out. I might take this guy out as well. I might zoom in so you can see a little bit more. So I can get you secure. So it's the tiniest amount. It's just to tack it there until I can come back with a thread. Now the berries disappeared behind that, so I want to flick you up. I don't really want to glue the berry down because I'll lose the dimension. If that was stitched, it would look flat, so you sort of want it up in the air. We might catch that leaf. He's tiny and just needs to be just caught. Okay, now I might come in here and catch you and you. You don't even have a pin in you, but that's, oh yes you do. So you can go, and then the piece will be mobile. It's like when they do those poor butterflies and, well, they're already deceased, I'm sure. Surely they don't catch them and put them in displays. No, they'd be, I bet they do. I don't know. Anyway, it's like when they pin specimens. It's exactly the process that I'm applying to this. That little pink flower moved. So I'm just going to drag you back into position. The little dab of glue is waiting for you. Now this glue has a setting agent in it, which I've said 100 times, makes it set really quickly. So that is all secure, and we just have the berries at the bottom. If you find that you've put too much glue on, to me that's a bit big. Goodness me. I just smear it out because you don't want a big blob of it. You don't want to risk it coming through the fabrics. So we're just going to tuck you under there. Okay, that's enough. All right, I shall pause now and go apply all my itty bitty stitches with my sewing machine cotton. Stitch him down. There we go. It's mobile. So I'll give it a moment to set, but it's pretty much set. I'm really happy with that orange. Like, it just connected everything. And it was certainly not a colour that you would say out aloud, you know, I'm going to do orange next. But it's just, it seems to have worked. That rusty red, there's a rusty orange in there. Colour's interesting. When you think things don't work, they can still be in the family. Anyway, enough yibby-yabbing. I shall see you in a moment. Okay, I'm back. Everything's stitched, everything's secure, everything's done. That's it. I don't think I'm going to add any more pops of colour or anything like that, because when I was stitching that and that, was thinking about the page spread. So the next video will be Friday. And I'm thinking if my structure goes, let me zoom up a little bit because you can't see. If my structured piece, the bicycle, the door, goes at the top of the pages, and then a vase of flowers at the bottom, I can put him there, and let's put a piece of this down here. Or at least, yeah, let's do that. It'll pick up the blue, and then I can do something in the way of another vase on here. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut that piece off right now because I can't wait. I will actually film this video later today. Will that tear? I'm not game. I'll film this video later today, and so I can pinch that off. You guys will see it Friday, because I believe it's Wednesday today, isn't it? There we go. And I don't feel like I missed much, so finally got that out of the system. Maybe I go exploring a few more fabrics from this family, upside down, that came back with me from Italy, and do a bit of a collage using those. Let me just get that bit off of there. Gosh, if I don't stop the video, I'm going to be starting something before I know it. There we go. Right, stop. Put the scrap. Oh, what a beauty. Yeah, that's so cool. So you go in the front door, and then you get to the ladies' parlour, and look at her wallpaper. Isn't she a bit flash? And then we'll do something on there, and I might go looking out those Italian fabrics that are brought back to see if we can sort of do something. I don't know, some form of vase of flower, or maybe this is the watery vase. Oh my goodness, the pressure. All right, see you in a day or so. Bye.